You're listening to The Sizzle on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television.
What we're about to do, you know who it is, you know who's in the building. Rich Sizzle, G Sizzle, we're in the building, and we're getting ready to talk about Thursday Night Football. This is our preview of Thursday Night Football, which will be the Seahawks versus, vaunted LA Rams. Rich, now, the Rams took a beating. They took a beating last week. It was not a good beating for them. It was a terrible beating. How do they bounce back this week and have a productive game against a really good and the league's leading efficiency quarterback in Russell? I almost called him Russell Westbrook.
Westbrook. Oh, Sierra will get you for that.
Oh, yeah, Sierra's going to get me for that, and I don't like that. But when it comes to Russell Wilson, how do the Rams get back on track this week with this game to pull out a victory?
That's going to be tough because you've got a quick turnaround from, Kyler Murray just was Kyler Murray. I didn't even see that coming, to be honest with you. I thought the game was going to be a lot closer than that. I thought the defense was going to get at Arizona a little bit better, but they didn't. So they have answers to turn around really quick. And I don't think you can really answer those questions within, 4 days of time. So you got to take whatever you've got and put it back on the field. Strange thing about Thursday night games, they're historically kind of high in nature unless you've got two teams that are really subpar. But these are two teams that are really good. They can put numbers on the board if they need to. So usually defenses are kind of a secondary option because you've got to learn. You got to go into film mode for some of these games. Start understanding who your guys are, who's gonna be the one you need to target, how to target them. Seattle's got two phenomenal wide receivers in DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. So you can't just focus your attention on one side of the ball. And then you have Russell Wilson, like you said, who's got wheels too, just like Kyler Murray. So, yeah, this is not a good thing for the Rams, and they're at home. Forgot about that. Seattle's at home. So you have that 12th man thing. Some places they don't really believe in that. But in Seattle, it's legit. So if the defense can get on board and get at Russell Wilson early and often and get him uncomfortable, they have a chance. However, if that line holds up for Russell Wilson, it's going to be a long game for the Rams.
Yeah, it's going to be a long game, but we've got some pointers. We've got some things that we need to look at, especially when you talk about Matthew Stafford. Now, we also said about Russell Wilson, he's number one in quarterback efficiency, and he's one of the NFL's best passers, but the third best NFL passer is Matthew Stafford. He's coming in with a passer rating of 117. He's been phenomenal, and here's the thing. Even though it's in Seattle, and I know Seattle, they're not the Legion of Boom like they used to be, but Seattle is giving up a league worst 444 yards per game. I mean, they let San Francisco do whatever they wanted to do when they faced them last week. And so right now, Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp have a real chance to do something really special. Now, Rich, let me throw out the over-under for you. See what you think about these numbers. So the over-under for this game is 54. It's at a flat 54, and the Rams are at a negative 2.5 spread. Is that number about right, or do you see it a little bit higher, a little bit lower? Where do you think that number should be?
54, so we're looking at a 27-27 split game, kind of. No, I don't like that number at all. I think that should be higher. Let's just take a look at the Rams allowed the Colts to score 24 points on them when they were on the road. Their lowest scoring game was, defensively, was when they faced the Bears in week 1. And quite honestly, that game could have been a lot higher score too if the Bears hadn't made a lot of bad decisions on offense. So I think that score is going to be a little bit higher. Like I said, we're talking about a Seattle offense that's pretty good. You match up player for player, Russell Wilson versus Matt Stafford. I'm picking Russell Wilson. You match up Metcalf and Lockett versus Woods and Kupp. I'm probably going to pick the Seattle wide receivers. You match up Chris Carson versus Henderson as far as running backs. I'm probably picking Chris Carson if he's healthy. So I like the offensive options all the way around for Seattle. There's no way this game gets done in under 54 points unless the Rams just don't put up points. But like you said before, Seattle's suspect on defense. So at some point, this game becomes some kind of a shootout.
Yeah. At some point, you're looking at two of your best offensive teams in the league going head to head. And I think it goes back to your original point. If that offensive line holds up for Russell Wilson, they're already in Seattle. It was a bad week last week for the Rams when they played against the Cardinals. I see the Seahawks maybe they haven't had the points share and they haven't won as much, but I think they're as good as the Cardinals. Maybe that's just me. Am I wrong in saying that Seattle is not really what their record says they are?
It's a fair evaluation. I mean, let's take a look at I mean, that's a tough division. It's not like they haven't had tough games, and it's also that kind of any given Sunday kind of thing. I do agree with you, being that that division is so tight, so tough. So you have Arizona that's 4-0. Mm-hmm. You have the Rams that's 3-1 because of Arizona. Then you have Seattle. They handled the 49ers pretty well, all things considered. So this is only their second divisional game. We're also talking about a veteran team that's played for a while. So they understand what these division games are all about. They know to come and bring their A game. I'm not saying anything against the Rams or anything like that. There's a lot of players, particularly their quarterback, that's in a position for the first time with an offense like this. So these are kind of new things going with them in a new division and such. So the favor is more on Seattle. I definitely are not looking at them as a 500 team. No. And if the Rams look at them as a 500 team, they're going to be disappointed early in this game.
Okay. Well, I think this is going to be a really high scoring affair. I think, as you said, the over-under is a little bit low at 54. I think you go the over and not the under on this one. But, okay, let's talk about something real quick. Just quickly, what are your ideas on the moves that have just been made with Stephon Gilmore going to Carolina? There was a trade actually already in place. Now, he was traded yesterday, but that trade was already in place to send him from the Patriots to the Panthers. And then the Cowboys move with Jalen Smith, them cutting him, and now him signing with Green Bay. Are those two moves that are going to impact them a plus impact for the Panthers and for the Packers?
It was a strange move for the Packers because they normally don't jump on free agents like that. So you question, is this a need that the Packers feel like they have, that they're filling a void, or are they just that high on this person? What I've seen in film with the Cowboys situation, I understand why they let him go. I mean, he's kind of all over the field sometimes, not really reading the options like he should have. So, okay, I get that. The New England one really surprised me. And I was surprised that they, from my understanding, they were willing to just let him walk out the door. Mm-hmm. So that one was like, huh? Like, wait a minute, this guy's, okay, yeah, he might be showing his age a little bit, but, I mean, he's still very valuable. Okay. I wasn't quite sure what that was doing. I don't know if, like you said, they were trying to make room for some space, or they know their team's not going to be that great, so they're trying to downgrade on themselves. That's what I was thinking initially, but I'm glad they did get something back from it. I feel like a 6th round pick is still kind of low, but hey, they got something. They were letting Ray go for nothing, so.
It's somebody, I think, if you're going to throw around 6-round picks, maybe that's somebody that the Bears should have looked at to fortify their defense and their corners. Even though they've had a good season with their corners, they could use the help. So, Rich, that ushers in the new question. How do you feel about Justin Fields as the starter, or being named as the starter for the Chicago Bears?
It comes with caveats. I like it for him, but I still think he needs some education on that field. And I don't think he's going to get it with the play abilities of Dalton or Foles. Yes, they're veteran quarterbacks, but they don't come with the same kind of talent or ability that Fields has. But then at the same time, I'm not comfortable with how they've been playing Fields. To be honest, I mean, it was quite apparent. The game before this one that we don't even really want to talk about. I don't know what that was, And with Detroit, it looked a lot better, but consider the source of who you're playing. Now you're going to be faced up against a Raiders team that has looked really good in past weeks, and their defense has stepped up. They had a lot of answers for Lamar Jackson. They may have some answers for Fields because they still haven't answered this offensive line thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the opportunity. I hope he doesn't get slaughtered. I hope he learns.
Mm-hmm.
But until I also, let me take this back. I also like that Nagy was willing to say, let me take a step back and let my offensive people come in and do what they have to do. I did like that humble approach to that kind of situation. Is it going to help moving forward? I don't know. He needs a team around him that's familiar with his skill set to come in and execute how they're supposed to. We're going to see a lot this week. This week will be kind of a tell-all for Fields. I liked him playing against the Lions because I wanted to see him have a kind of a fair advantage in the game. Against Cleveland, and you just let Garrett just get after him. I expected that kind of situation. In Detroit, I expected him to have a little more room. This Vegas team, that's going to be middle of the road. This is what you can expect. A tough defense that can get at you, but not so physically tough to where you're going to be questionable all throughout the rest of the week for the next week. So I like it. We'll see. There's nothing against Andy Dalton. I question if he was ever really as hurt as they say he was, and this might have been the plan from the beginning, but who knows?
I've wondered. I as I look at it, I don't know if I'm Andy Dalton and I'm Nick Foles. I'm almost positive with Nick Foles. He doesn't want to play another down for the Bears. It's something about his body language and demeanor that just lets me know he's good. He's over playing for the Bears. But they have been a good kind of coach mentor. I don't know, really helping him as they are the little offensive coordinators on the field, really.
Right.
It seems like they're doing a tag team working with him and getting him ready. I'm not as afraid of Vegas now as I was maybe 2 weeks ago. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe after when I saw what happened with Vegas Sunday, I said, oh, wait a minute. This is a team the Bears could win against if the line holds up. Now, that's the thing. Yeah. If you got a Fetty holding up on that right side, maybe Justin Fields has a chance. And if Jason Peters doesn't get hurt again, I think you've got a pretty good chance. I think you could get into a slugfest with him. But I did have one question for you before we go. When it comes to Allen Robinson, because I know we're talking about David Montgomery's hurt, got a knee injury. I'm kind of perplexed with Allen Robinson. And it doesn't seem like that Justin Field and Allen Robinson are on the same page. Am I looking at that wrong? Because I see him as he's more of a Mooney guy. And he'll take the under or he'll do the deep with Mooney with speed. So where does that leave Allen Robinson in this mix?
He still should be where he's at. I mean, that should be your go-to guy. I mean, he has proven himself to be a very good receiver, very reliable receiver. You can get the ball to him. Sometimes quarterbacks need a little bit of time with receivers. Now, you talked about Mooney. It's a pretty good guess that Fields spent more time practicing with Mooney than he did with Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson's WR1. We know that. So the understanding was before this year was Foles, so he had the connection with Foles. And here comes Andy Dalton. So Andy Dalton knows this is my wide receiver one, kind of like his old, AJ Green kind of person. Now you have Justin Fields, and he has to develop that kind of charisma with his receivers. So the ones he's used to throwing to, which isn't Allen Robinson, now he has them. So you should see some better productivity between those two. And one thing I wanted to add about what you're talking about with the Vegas game, the Chargers defense helped their Chargers offense out a whole lot. They made key plays. They made stops. They kept the field honest for them. The Bears defense has to do the same thing. In years past, when they played them, I think, what was that, in London or something?
Yes. And
they basically blew the game off, and the Raiders came and smacked them. They cannot do that again. They have to take them serious. Derek Carr is a very underrated quarterback, and he has been lighting up the scoreboard as well. And the Bears seem soft in the tight end position, and here you have another dominant tight end with Darren Waller that could easily see 10 to 12 targets in that game. And if the Bears don't figure out an answer on how to take care of that soft part of the defense, it's going to be a long game for them too.
Very long game. I laughed. They were doing an interview with Darren Waller. It was Steve Young and Randy Moss. And when you saw Randy Moss stand beside Darren Waller, it was like looking at a father and son, but Darren Waller was the father. I mean, he's massive. He's massive as a tight end, and he dwarfs Randy Moss. I mean, you can see the height, the size. It's something. It's phenomenal what kind of tight end. He's a phenom. It's something about Waller. He's become a special tight end. He's in that Travis Kelce mode to me, where I think he's that kind of guy.
Long, athletic, can catch very well. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's that guy. So, listen, let's wrap it up. What are your predictions for Thursday Night Football for Seattle versus Rams?
I think it's going to be a close one. I like the spread, but I do think the Rams have the advantage.
Okay.
So I'll take the Rams. I'm going to go, let's go 35-34.
Okay. 35-34. I'm going to do the flip of that. I'm going to do the reverse. Since they're at Seattle, I think Mr. 1-2 Step gets a very close victory, and I think that they pull out 38-35 Seattle on top. I'm giving you a Seattle special. That's what I'm doing. Remember to look for our exclusive interview with Coach Angela Hamlin Blakely from the region. You know who only does it the way we do it, which is the sizzle, right here on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television.
Make sure that you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Iron Skillet Sports. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to Iron Skillet Sports on YouTube at Iron Skillet Sports.